Hey, guys, thank you for tuning into my channel. I'm coming to you today because I want to tell you a funny story that came to mind. This has happened to me back when I was at the University of Texas, living in San Antonio. A good friend of mine, a relatively good friend of mine, John, kind of was down on his luck, struggling, broke, kind of strung out. He had a buddy, Tim. So Tim worked at Shoney's. He was a waiter. So we used to sit around like on weekends because all of us were kind of broke, college. So we'd sit around on weekends and we drinking a couple of brewskis, and everybody was like, "Hey man, how we need to make a couple of dollars? You know, I want to get into recycling. What is it I can do to make a couple of dollars?" So they came up with this brilliant idea. Now this is, granted, I'm an old person, I'm in my 50s. This is back in the like early 90s. So at that time, what was going on is out of Texas, I think Denny's was having some trouble in a lawsuit because apparently what happened was some of their African-American customers weren't getting, I guess they were getting ignored and wasn't getting taken to the table soon enough. I never even really understood that lawsuit. You know, I guess, you know, a black customer would come in and maybe a white customer would come in and they go like, "Hey, we're going to seat the white guy. We're going to let the black guy wait." I'm not sure what was going on and how they could actually even prove that. But there was a huge story going on at the time. So when we were discussing this, we had brought that up. So Tim, who worked at Shoney's, was going like, "Hey, I got a great idea." Tim is like, "I'm white. Right? And John, you're black." He's like, "Listen, why don't you come into my restaurant, right? I'll wait on you. You can sit in my section. I'll wait on you. I'll call you the N-word, right? And then you could get appalled and sue. We can come up. It's like a quick come up, man. Like we can make some of that big money that Denny's is paying out for other people." So I don't know what was going through our heads, but somehow he thought that was a great idea. So here's what happened. So obviously, John, they pick a date that he's on shift. He's a waiter at Shoney. So they pick a date when he's on shift, and John goes into the restaurant. You know, he kind of walks in, you know, standing around. He gets seated in Tim's section. So, you know, John's sitting down there and he kind of orders like, you know, I'll take a soup. You know, and Tim's like, "Oh, just hold on a minute. You know, I'll take your order. Just give me a few minutes." He started waiting on a couple other people. In fact, some people get up and leave. And, you know, John's sitting there being patient. He's like, "Hey, excuse me. I want to place an order." You know, and Tim's like, hey, I'm going to get around to you. Just give me a minute to get my situation together. So a couple of people leave. About another 10 or 15 minutes go by. More people come in. He takes their order. And Tim's like, hey, listen, I want to order and I want to order now. John's like, "Man, that's my problem with you N-words. Y'all are impatient. You come in, he starts screaming at him." Customers, you know, glass, you know, the talking in the restaurant stops. Everybody's looking. He just said the N-word. He's appalled. Oh my God. So everyone's standing there, he's looking around. And he's like, hey, man, you know, I didn't mean to say that about you, bro. I'm sorry, bro. He's like, nah. I don't even want to be served here. Where's your manager? Give me your manager right now. So then the manager comes over, asks what happened. Before the manager gets there, a couple people's like, "Hey, bro, take down my number, man. I heard exactly what happened, man. If you need a witness, take down my number. We got this, man. That's insane that guy said that. That's insane." So the manager comes over. What happened? "Yeah, man, I'm asking for service. I've been sitting here for 15 minutes. He doesn't even wait on me. He waits on 4 or 5 other tables. Then when I actually demand service, he calls me the N-word." He's like, "Huh." He goes, "Yeah, man, I'm sorry, man. My frustrations kind of slip out." He's like, "Hey, you're fired. Just get out of my restaurant right now. You're fired. Get out of here now." He's like, "Man, I'm really, really sorry. I apologize. I had no idea that he said anything like this." He goes, "Listen, I'm going to report this to corporate. Give me a call. Here's my business card. Give me a call tomorrow. Listen, I'm going to have somebody else wait on you. Your meal is free. Whatever you want. In fact, you can eat here free whenever you want, bro. I'm really sorry that happened to you." He's like, yeah, man. I don't want nothing to eat. I just want to get out of here, man. I'm embarrassed. I'm ashamed." So they leave. So he leaves. So it worked. The outrage from the other customers, the witnesses, it all worked because the next day when he called Shoney's and asked, the manager say, listen, I've talked to corporate. Give me your number. I'm gonna have a lawyer from my corporate office give you a call. So they're sitting around, Tim and John, they're like, he's gonna have a person from the corporate office call me. Okay, yeah, have him call me. About 5 minutes later, he gets a call from the corporate office. It's one of the attorneys. He's like, yes, I understand that you've had some unpleasantries in one of our restaurants, and we'd like an opportunity to make this right. He's like, listen, I don't know, man. I was pretty embarrassed. I was pretty ashamed. I don't know. He's like, well, we're thinking about a cash settlement. We're thinking about maybe something that we can offer you, that, could put your mind at ease to let you know that this type of situation we don't condone and we want to make retribution. So he's like, why don't you think about an offer of what do you think it would be worth to kind of put this whole situation behind us? He's like, all right, I'm gonna think about it, I'll let you know. So he hangs up and he's like, oh my God, it worked. Oh my God, it worked. So wait. So how much do we ask for? What do we ask for? All right, so we start throwing numbers around. Someone's like, 500, 600? Come on, bro. 500 or 600? Come on, man. We start thinking about maybe 5,000. We didn't know what a good number would be. Like, what would it be worth if you went into a restaurant, somebody called you the N-word in front of all the customers? Like, how much should you get? And somehow we settled on like $20,000. So we're thinking 20. I'm not 100% certain. I'm trying to remember, but I think it's either 20 or 25,000. So they call the lawyer back, right? The lawyer's like, have you thought about an amount? So he says, I'm thinking to put this all behind me, I'm thinking maybe like between the like $15,000 or $20,000 range. He's a little nervous. He's like, 15 or 20,000, yeah. Lawyer says, let's go ahead and make it 20,000. He's like, okay. He's like, as a matter of fact, here's what I'll do. I'll go ahead and overnight the check to the Shoney's where you were. Just go in tomorrow and pick it up. Give me your full name and go into the Shoney's tomorrow and pick up the check. He's like, well, sure, no problem. I mean, what bank is the check drawn on? Is it a local bank where I could go cash it? Because, I've never cashed a check for like, for $20,000. He's like, you know what? The lawyer says, you know what? We'll have cash for you. We'll get the check cash. We will arrange for you to go to the bank and get that check cashed immediately. Just have a couple of little forms for you to sign. But come on down, man. We are really embarrassed about this. And if $20,000 is going to put this behind us, let's go ahead and do that. So he goes in, gets the check, follows the instructions to the bank, goes to the bank. The bank cashes the check in all hundreds. John and Tim divvy the money out, $10,000 apiece, split it. They're like, that was brilliant. We just had a hustle that made us $20,000 in less than 4 days. That was brilliant. Brilliant. Now, for me, it was brilliant. I thought it was an excellent idea and it worked. But what I was thinking to myself is on the other end of that phone, when they were waiting for a call back, those lawyers were probably like, what do you think they're gonna ask for? 1 or 2 million, 3 or 4, how much? The Denny's lawsuit was $25 million back in the 90s. They're like, oh my God, this guy got called the N-word in front of everybody. We're done. So imagine the lawyer's view when they called back and said, we're thinking 15, 20,000. They're like, what? We can buy you for chump change? Sold to the closest bidder. They got away with only 20 grand. They probably would have given them $500,000 in the same situation in the same amount of time and been ecstatic. So, there was promotions given out for only paying $20,000 for a customer getting called the N-word in the middle of their restaurant, thinking about pressing a lawsuit. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I got other stories just like that. Do me a favor. You want to hear some more stories like that? Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, share the video, and please leave me a comment about what you think. Thanks.